Run when the rhythm's right. Go into the night. Go until you're out of sight and you're out of my mind. Run when the rhythm's right. Go into the night. Floating as the river flows, easy as it goes to the ocean. So walk on by, I've got no reason to love you, but I do, I do, I do. So walk on by, I've got no reason to love you, but I do, I do, I do. Show me colors of the sky, but all I see is gray. You lost me when you lied. Promise me, but you never try. Secrets in your eye, you go and run, I'll hide. Show me colors of the sky, but all I see is gray. You lost me when you lied. I don't ever wanna be crowned, just another prize. It breaks my heart, heart, breaks my heart, 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 breaks my heart, 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 breaks my heart, 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 breaks my heart. Shook me to the ground now, and somehow I feel like you don't know me. Shook me to the ground now, I don't even know how. Brought me to a life that you never showed me. Coming from a locked up ghost, I'll be your sound. But you're coming from the light. There's more to you than you ever thought there was. Yeah, you're coming from the light.
All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome. My name is Resorty, and to you, one and all, I say hello, friends. Welcome. How the heck's it going? Hope things are going well for you. It is very good to see so many of you here already. I'm a little bit running all over the place. My shirt is not ironed, but that's okay. It is good to be here with you anyway. First things first, hello to you, Hip People Guy. You have a flight in a little bit. Please pack so you can go on your flight. Thank you. Hello to your friend Jim. Jim, thank you for the generous resubscription. Tier 2 continued. Thank you for that immensely. I appreciate how consistent you are as a viewer, how you're often here at the very beginning, rain or shine or driving across the Northeast United States. Always awesome seeing you, Jim. Thanks for being part of our community, really and sincerely. I'm glad you're here. Hello to you, Ame. Hello to you, Hip People Guy. Hello, Kusato. Welcome in, friend. Oh, sorry, Kusato. One more time. Kusatro. There we go. Red Paradox, hello. Hello to you, Sak Utera. What's it going? British Viking Kari. Welcome, my friend. It has been a while. Friends, yesterday we radio hosted British Viking Kari, a person I really like a whole bunch. Someone who's been part of our community on and off for like 5 years, a very long time indeed. And it's so cool seeing him streaming City Skylines. Kari is definitely a fellow with a beard and the strength and all the rest, and it's just really great to see him. And yeah, those of you who came over and hung out with us, with him, thanks for doing that. And yeah, hope your stream went very well for sure. Hello to you, Pepper. Good to see you, my friend. Hello to you, Alex. Hello to you, Dami. Silent, what's good? You got the big hand, the one that blocked my face. Hello, Silent. How's it going today, Super Cheese? Welcome. Marks. Hello, Ol. Welcome. If I missed you, I apologize, but everyone's good to see you. Let me grab a jacket. So, brown looks good today. Blue? Let's do blue. I don't know if yellow and blue look nice together. Like, this is blue and dark blue. But dark blue looks very black on the screen. So we'll try the blue and see how it looks. Not sure. Alright. So what do I have for you today? Well, one thing I have up front, I must tell you, it's going to be a short one today. It's going to be a very short one today, actually. I'll be live for only about 2 hours today, unlike the usual 4.5 or so, because I have a friend across the globe who I need to get a call into, and we'll be doing it today, so don't blame me, blame time zones. No, I apologize, I need to miss a little bit of stream here. It is a choice I make intentionally, though, because this friend's very important to me, and it's time, it needs to be time, and so my boss is letting me take a little bit of paid time off. So tomorrow I'll be back, definitely, positively, absolutely, at normal time, but today I'll be leaving a little bit before my 10:30. Yeah, and not coming back. That's just how it goes for sure. But my apologies for those of you who fall asleep to me and stay asleep to me. Tonight the voice will leave very quickly. Oh, I do wonder, those of you who sleep while I'm on and leave me running, whenever we raid someone, I wonder if their audio is sometimes much louder or much quieter than mine. That could be a very jarring experience. For a brief moment I thought, oh, I should stop radio hosting people, but no, I said I was going to do more of that, so, My apologies if we ever wake you up with someone going, oh my god, Resorty, it's so good to see you! Like, it's just part of your dream, don't worry, go back to sleep, please and thank you. Hello, Butsaru, welcome in, friend. So that's thing number one. Thing number two, many of you are aware of the fact that you have a new CK3 DLC available today. The Legacy of Persia DLC released this morning, I believe, American time, and it's yeah, it looks pretty cool already. I've watched a tiny little bit in another stream. We won't be playing that today. I do want to give a little bit more time to our Cities playthrough, but we will be playing it on My Monday, American Sunday. So I expect we'll get questions about that all stream long, and that's absolutely fine, but just, I want to say directly, if you're here for the Crusader Kings 3, it will be here on Monday. I promise. Unless I get hit by a bus or something. You know how it goes. It's cool. Shen thinks it's super buggy. Oh, Matt. That makes sense. I mean, I trust Shen quite a bit. I'm also never surprised when a Paradox release might have some bugs, because, of course, getting a game into production and trying on different computers, etc., etc. It'll be fun, though. I always think I have fun with games, no matter how buggy they are, I guess. So I think we'll have a good time with it. I know there are some streamers who will intentionally not play any Paradox games or DLCs until after they've gotten one patch, and I understand why. But I'm willing to go out there and, you know, be the person who must take the burden of playing the video game. I suppose so. Jim, it can be a bit of a jump scare when we do the raid, so you put a VOD on instead. Oh, that's really interesting. That's a very smart idea, and I appreciate that I'm still going to be part of your sleepy time. That's very kind. Maybe it's not only my VODs, but I try to keep things generally chill here, and so hopefully I continue to be part of your nightly routine. Hey Klaus, it's good seeing you. Very good seeing you, actually. You downloaded a sleep timer that turns off your phone because of the difference of audio during raids. That's incredibly smart, Klaus. Yeah, I don't have any, mods like that on my phone. Mods is not the word. Apps, I suppose. But that's a very smart one. I guess I tend not to watch video going to sleep because I fall asleep pretty quickly, and I always worry about jarring noms with the changing lights, because once she's asleep, it's a delicate and precarious thing that I want to respect and be careful with as much as I possibly can, because if she wakes up, she is just up. And if that even happens at like 1 a.m., she is just up. So, yeah, I tend to just read a book for a little while and then Z-snore. But yeah, cool. Hello, Cortraption. How you doing today, my friend? It is good to see you. Yes, indeed. Friends, I have 4 stories for you. That's right, we're only streaming for 2 hours, and I have 4 stories for the intro. I will try to keep the stories relatively short, because I do want to do some gaming today. I always want to provide a little bit of hangout time and relax time, and that's good. Jimmy, you say my tone, pace, and volume are consistent with no crazy alerts. Yeah. I've thought about doing a very subtle audio cue, at least on my end, for alerts of tips especially, because anything that happens through Twitch, anything that happens natively on Twitch, I have 3 alerts in 3 places. But when something happens via the off-stream tipping program, which goes through PayPal for me, I get an alert in one place, a place I normally don't look towards. And so I do occasionally miss tips and feel very, very bad about that. So a very subtle one, like, a thanks friends, or maybe it's like, again, only on my side, a very quiet ding that I would hear, but probably you wouldn't hear. If it's just me talking as the alert, I'm comfortable putting that out to all of you. But if it's going to be a sound that might be jarring, it'll just be heard over here. But we'll see. I haven't missed that many, but there have been a few in the past month or so that I've been thinking about. So we'll see. Sure. Incoming air horn stream? Yeah, I'm always amazed by... I'm amazed by the streamers who decide to have a vibe that is so much energy and go and right, all the way through. Because I don't know how they maintain that level of intensity for hours and hours and hours. And I know it has come out that some of these not to besmirch anyone in particular, but it has come out that some individuals might have recreational substances that encourage and allow them to maintain that intensity for 8 hours at a time. And no, like clearly no, that's not how to go. But yeah, I understand that different streamers want different vibes. You know, some want to have the, you know, laid back, cozy, chill thing like I try to do. Others want to do, you know, hype, here we go. And yeah, there are also high energy extroverts. Absolutely so. Yeah, the high energy extrovert out there is the person who is not me in the strongest possible way. Yeah, so I do not mean to say in any way that everyone who has streamed like that, you know, are on drugs, but it has been discovered through people who have stopped streaming and then admitted what's going on. There are some folks who do that, which makes me so sad. You know, especially for people who are, you know, who are doing this as their job. How sad that you'd have to be medicated in that kind of way to do your job correctly. No, it's not energy drinks at all. Hey, Gruff, that's very kind of you. It's good to see you, and thank you for your niceness. Hello, Steve. Hello to Skipper Mark. It's going well today. Yeah, it's going very well. As stream started, I was feeling a little bit panicked of how I'm going to get everything done. But everything got done, and we're ready for some talking time, and that's pretty darn good. That's not quite true. Not everything got done. The shaving didn't quite happen. Luckily, my beard hair is fairly light until it gets out a bit more, and yeah. So luckily, the camera, the lights in here at least occlude some of it, but we're getting a little fuzzy. We got to defeat that real soon. Unless I'm going to accept No Shave November, that might be it. Maybe I'm having a little bit of No Shave November experience. That's what it is, possibly. Kari, you've been watching for 8 years? Yeah, I've been streaming forever. It's weird. Grow it out. No, the reason I don't like growing out my beard is because inevitably I will shave. And it might take until next spring or summer to do so. But I get very, very hot in the summer, I sweat a lot, etc. And having the beard just makes it even worse. So inevitably I will shave, and then for a month and a half, Resorty, where'd the beard go? Resorty, let's talk about your face. Resorty, you look better with a beard, and I just can't deal with it. So I never let the, oh my goodness, Anonymous. Anonymous, thank you for gifting 3 months of subscription to British Viking Kari. That's very, very kind of you. Kari, enjoy the emotes, enjoy the crossword, and Anonymous, super generous. Thank you very much. I do appreciate those multi-month subscriptions so much. As many of you know, there's currently an incentive thing going on where if I can keep over a certain number of subscribers for 3 months in a row, then I suddenly get 70% of the money that comes in via subscriptions instead of 50%. And that'd be pretty cool. No pressure, no nothing. It's just something I'm working on. So, the slow and steady march to becoming an elite streamer. So thank you for your kindness all the way indeed. Yeah, so the reason I intentionally do not grow up my beard anymore too much is it becomes core to the stream's identity. Like, yo, beard guy, loving the beard, big boy, you got a good beard. Then the minute it goes away, things get really, really, really awkward. If I get my beard wet, it's natural air conditioning. The idea of like, I know you don't mean this, but the idea of carrying around a small like bucket of water. Oh, I'm feeling so hot. Beard AC. I like that, but I think I often think of beards in the other direction, like Winston in Don't Starve, right? You grow it out long, and then it becomes this absolutely beautiful blanket to wrap around yourself. So, maybe. I could definitely make a little TikTok video about beard AC. I do not have a TikTok. I will never have a TikTok. If you go and take tiktok.com/resorty, it's all yours. I want nothing to do with it. So, Klaus, you clean shave once a year on October 31st. So there's the comment throughout all of November because you switch. Instead of doing no shave November, you do all stream November or all shave November. I definitely get that. You're a little bit questioning the norms for sure. Skipper, you appreciate that I'm a chill dad / uncle vibe. We'll stay with uncle, thank you. But yeah, I mean, I don't intend to be anything in particular. You know, occasionally people come by and say, oh, Resorty, thanks for the family-friendly stream, or thanks for the great vibe of being an uncle or a dad. And I don't think about it. Yeah, really, I just open my mouth and things come out, and so it's just the Resorty vibe. It's just me, and yeah, but I know that I do fall into certain tropes and traits and so on, and cool. I'm glad you're enjoying what I put forward here. All right, 4 stories and 7 years ago. 4 stories and 7 minutes ago, which is a joke made in chat that I stole. Here are the things that I have. Will I remember all 4 of them? We'll begin with the part that ties into yesterday's stream. So today is indeed teaching day, and today we're talking about the work of Kohei Saito, a professor of philosophy who works over at Todai, University of Tokyo, right now, and is putting out some really interesting ideas about how contemporary society could look back to traditional Japanese thought that came before the so-called Meiji era, when Japan industrialized. And his central idea is things are good in Japan, right? We have stable housing, we have stable food, unemployment's low, things are pretty good here, economically speaking, work speaking, in terms of people have employment. But there are a lot of issues that everybody knows, right? A lot of issues that people are aware of. The aging population, the high level of mental health issues. By issues I mean structural troubles, etc. The incredibly difficult work hours here, the general expectation that you go out with the boss late at night and drink if he wants to, and if you don't, it's a shame. I left my instant message program with my psychiatrist open. We'll deal with that after stream. So, etc., etc. And so Saito's argument is, instead of focusing on more growth, faster toothbrushes and so on, why don't we just say, okay, good enough on these kinds of things. Let's instead spend our energy and effort on making more supportive communities that help out with these many issues that have been identified as obviously a big problem in Japan. It's a refocus of the government and the economy and so on. And so I'm so excited to talk about this in class today because it's happening right now in the world, right? It's happening in Japan. And my students always say, I would love to read more Japanese thinkers. And so I've been working very hard on finding Japanese sources, like real Japanese people making real arguments based on Japanese thought that they might respond well to. And so last night I started looking through the response papers, looking through the commentary they offered, and to a person, of the 7 or so that came in last night, to a person, this can't work. Like, this pure defeatism. And it makes me so sad. And so I think today I'm going to start with the question of, is this the best we can do? Like, have we hit the high point of humanity and we shouldn't bother asking any more questions? And that's really, really sad for me, if so, because it's just the immediate, cool idea, but why bother even thinking about it? And I tend not to go for individual responsibility, individual choice narratives in class, because I want to think about structural issues and so on. But I always want to go, to the individual student and say, is it possible for you to spend a little bit less time on work and a little more time talking to your neighbor? Like, I don't necessarily mean, can everyone do this all at once, but can you do this? Because I think the answer is yes. And so it's not that it's, I don't exactly care about, is it possible for everyone everywhere? Just, could some people do this? And would that be a good thing? And if it's possible for the individual to do this, then maybe it's possible for the class to do this, or the community to do this. And we work up in very, very, very small ways. There's a certain messianism that a lot of folks believe in. A certain kind of we either snap and it all happens at once, or we shouldn't bother even trying. And I don't think my students believe that in any other realm of life, right? Oh, I got a bad grade on my homework assignment. Welp, better drop out of school. It's just very, very strange how they are. I think it's a kind of inevitability or sadness, loneliness. I think goes into it also. And I would just hope that my students are willing to make that turn with me today and just think in like the smallest possible ways. So Saito, in his own life, says one day a week on Saturdays, he, in the morning, he knows that he could be writing more paper, right? He knows that he could be working on grading student paper. There's always more work to do. But instead, once a week on Saturday mornings, he goes to a local farm and works for free because he knows that what's being grown there is shared with poorer people, people who are food insecure, people who are hungry. He thinks it is a good use of his time to make a more supportive and caring community. And the soft version of this is just called volunteering, right? People actually factually volunteer sometimes. And I think he's just offering a slightly more ideologically thoughtful version of volunteering. So maybe that's where I start today with, hey, let's talk about volunteering and see where that goes. Wing Commander, thank you for the follow a few minutes ago. I appreciate that. Glad you're enjoying the blah, 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 such as it is. But goodness gracious, it's too many people being okay with the status quo. Yeah. I mean, I think part of the reason I'm so surprised by this is one of the reasons I believe that a lot of folks' parents respond to students with, you don't live in the real world, is because young people tend to be the font of idealism and imagination and oh man, we should try to change things. And my students this semester just aren't that way at all. They're instead like, I use this word very, very carefully. They're conservative in some deep way that I'm just not being able to talk through, where they're ready to say, no, we do not change anything. And part of that is definitely Japanese society, right? Part of that is, as you said, HPG, the person who stands up is pushed down. But a large portion of my students are not Japanese. They're Americans. They're Tibetans. Nepalese. They're Nepalese. There's Chinese, Tibetans, and folks from all around the world, not just the Japanese folks. So, yeah, I think you're right, HPG. I think you're right that social norms are definitely part of it. We've talked about that a little already, like the way in which social norms push us in this way or that way. And my non-Japanese students are always ready to say, no, man, I reject all social roles. I reject social norms. I pick my own path. And then my question is, do you really want to pick this path? Like, is this the path you actually want? It's just a weird thing to say. I am the, captain of my own destiny. But wait, there's no possible path but the one I'm already doing. It's just strange. It's just like a strange limit on imagination. So that's how it goes. Is it similar to the Kanto Sabbath? Oh, Klaus is a very good point. Yeah. So, absolutely. In Jewish and Christian traditions, at least, there's this idea of setting aside some time for non-productive, right? Not non-economically productive work, and instead spending time with family, perhaps engaging in religious interactions, things like that. And now, obviously, Japan does not have much of a tradition of Christianity. There have been some missionary attempts, but they've largely failed. And so I don't think Saito would ever use the language of Sabbath, but there probably is a very nice overlap there, at least in terms of the intention behind it. So I might bring that up and say, those of you who are religious folks, do you sneak away during the church service to check your work email? Because if so, something's terrible. Something's absolutely terrible, I'm afraid. Yeah, I don't know. Ami, you often feel that helping the community around you while you're currently unemployed is better than an office job. Yeah, I mean, we've talked before about David Graeber's big book. He has many big books, but one of them is called Bullshit Jobs. And he has reports from all around the country and all around the world of people who say, I'm relatively sure if my job disappeared tomorrow, nothing in the world would change, or the world would even be better off. And for whatever reason, maybe my students just haven't done enough paid work yet, done enough like my life is just my job to say, oh, maybe something else is different, or could be different rather. And yeah, I think this conversation has actually been very useful for me, not as I'm going to teach differently today, or not as, gosh, I think the students are this or that, but instead just helping me to think through what's important to me, which is just thinking more broadly, asking, what can we do? How can we think about the world? Just in little different ways. Like thinking of one's neighbor as the neighbor instead of one's neighbor as the stranger, right? Just that kind of thing. It's little stuff. Friends, an ad break is coming in just a moment here. I'm going to talk through it. We've been live for about half an hour so far, and I've told one story, but I do appreciate your company all throughout it. Very cool, very good. M. BradyX, good seeing you. Noms and I will be writing you an email tonight, tomorrow, over the weekend. We're looking forward to reaching out and chatting a little bit. Story number 2. This is a story of absolute terror. It's appropriate for the just past Halloween. So, absolute terror, here we go. Yeah. So, last night, Noms got home pretty late. Last night, Noms was exhausted from work. And yet, we're not going to connect story number 1 and story number 2. We do not connect these stories today at all. And yet, Noms said as she walked in the door, let's have dinner and then I need to work. I'd love it if you sat and worked with me or read next to me, but I can't do anything else tonight. So we need to have dinner and work. Very good. And so I did that. You know, I stayed out of her way largely. I made her some tea. I was affirming as much as possible. Good. Eventually it got to about 11 p.m. 11 p.m. is about my latest minute bedtime, and so I said to myself, okay. I need to go to sleep. And I told Noms I need to go to bed, and so I went to bed. And you know, she woke me up for teeth brushing time. We always do that together at about 1 a.m. Fine, whatever. And so teeth brushing time's done. We go to bed, and we get up this morning. It's great. We get up this morning, and we're having a great time with the coffee. We're having a great time, chit-chatting a little bit over breakfast. All very good, all very good. Then Nom starts getting ready for, Nom gets ready for the work day. We start getting ready for the work day, and something is missing. Jim already identified it. Maybe some of the rest of you have also. What's this something that's missing? Every night, Noms and I do the crossword puzzle. We've been doing the crossword puzzle every single night for more than 3.5 years. We have a perfect streak all the way through of always finishing the crossword puzzle with no help at all. And so at a certain moment, Noms picked up her iPad to put it into her work bag to start going to work. And at that moment, I said, oh, we didn't do the crossword puzzle. And she goes, and I go, and we both go together because it's a moment of absolute terror. And oh boy. So yeah. Now the nice thing is, we live in the future. And so as you know right now, in New York City, which is where the New York Times is based, it is still yesterday. And so, as long as the puzzle gets done by, I believe, noon my time, maybe 11 a.m. my time, it still counts as having been done. And so, Noms had to go, because she had meetings, and your boy Resorty sat down at his laptop and solved the puzzle in about 14 minutes. It's a Thursday puzzle. Our average solve time is about 31 minutes. And when it was done, I pulled up the main screen and I saw the line of gold stars continues. My friends, despite the worry, despite the crisis, we continue our streak. Oh, thank goodness. Because, yeah, we were definitely ready to say, no, new streak time, no, must start at the top. Gotta rip the Band-Aid off? No, that's like saying I've failed one assignment, time to drop out of college. If it's possible to maintain, or it's possible to maintain the, ongoing, that is really, really, really cool. So I want to maintain that. Is that a world record? I don't think so. No, there's some people who are really, really into crosswords. More on that in a moment. A CS Prof, thank you again for being here, and thank you again for the 3-month subscription. I believe you've done that before. Thanks for doling it out 3 months at a time. It's awesome having you here, and yeah, I'm glad you've enjoyed hanging out. I think thus far we've never played a logic game on stream. I always wonder, for the CS folks, for the math folks, will they stay around once they see me playing Auction Not Included and being unable to think through systems? It is the question all the way through. So it's good having you here, CS. I appreciate it a whole bunch. Hey, Bernier, thank you for the resubscription also. It's good to see you, my friend. 16 months, lots of months. Really appreciate that a whole bunch. But yeah, it's not a world record in Crosswordville to do the New York Times every single day. And the reason why is one can always look up how to do it, right? Someone can always look up online what all the solutions are. And because of that, Noms and I do not do it. We keep it accountable. But because of that, there's always the sense that, I have 8,000 days of crossword puzzle, and many of them could just be the ongoing streak. And yeah, that sure is something that's important to us, but it could be gamed very easily. So that's how it goes. Klaus, someone is asking about odd facts yourself, and you said your 111-week Monday streak. Yeah. That's 2 years, right? That's 2 years going through. 52 plus almost 52. And, 52 plus 52 is 104. It's more than 2 years. Look, mathematics, I can do math. But yeah, it is the case that I'm very, very glad that you've done that, Klaus. I've been so impressed with your ongoing solving. Sticking with it. So cool. Karen, you do the cross every day and pen on paper in the New York Times, then burn it immediately. I think Fairnance has the longest streak both for finishing the crossword and also for destroying the crossword. You destroy it in 2 sentences, I suppose. All right, story number 3. This one's about Twitch streaming. Story number 3. Actually, there's 2 phases of the story. The phase number 1. I've finally decided to just suppress chat over on YouTube. And I feel a little bit bad about this, a little tiny bit bad about this, because there have been some people who have come by, and I've tried to chat with them just a little bit to induce them to come over to Twitch and continue joining the chat over there. So far, to my knowledge, no one has made that move, and I always feel very awkward offering it. And yesterday in particular was a situation that, as potentially anxiety kid, I read in a very, very not strange way, in a way that kind of threw off my sense of how things should be going, and made me feel just a tiny bit weird about the whole operation, which someone came by, and they seemed really cool, and we talked a tiny little bits, just in a kind of casual way that didn't distract from Twitch, hopefully. And at a certain point, I said, hey, I would love it if you would join the chat over in Twitch. And then they retracted, which apparently you could do, retracted every single message they'd offered on YouTube. And I didn't know how to read that. Like, was this person, respecting that I don't talk much on YouTube? Were they saying, fine then, I don't even want to talk this way? And I don't know. Like, obviously, I do not know what they're thinking. I shouldn't catastrophize. But I realize it's better for me if that's not possible. So I do wonder if there's a setting that says, like, you're not able to take your words back. Once they're written in stone, or what exactly. But I decided the better way to deal with it is just, if people want to come from YouTube to Twitch to chat, awesome. Very cool. I would love to see them. But at the same time, if they are only wanting to watch if they're chatting on YouTube, this maybe is just not the stream for them. Some while back, some of you said that we need to think of the YouTube stream as being just a big billboard for Resorty. Come on by and hang out, or enjoy watching it, or whatever else. And so, yeah, I think that's the strategy that works best for me. I know some of you have very much enjoyed going over to YouTube and naughtily chatting over there, which is to say, he, I talk in the wrong chat, which is great. But I think it's just for my streaming maintenance, for my mental health maintenance, it's be better for me not to do that. All right, that is part 1 of the Twitch stories. Oh, Jim. See, Jim's a therapist. Jim works with people who are in rough situations. Jim says nicely, that's a confusing thing to do, and I can see why you may perceive that in a negative way. What a perfectly affirming way of talking. I can't do it. I'm always so impressed. I see why you may perceive it in that way, which does not offer a judgment on the truth of what's happened, does not offer a judgment on whether it's a good or bad way of approaching these things. What an awesome way of talking. I do not know how to do this, and I'm always impressed. I read chat and I say, oh, what a great point. I read chat and say, oh my goodness, you are so attentive to my emotional needs. Thank you, my friend. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. All right, story number 2 story letter B under the third story of Twitch issues. So this one will come as absolutely no surprise to anybody. Let me go and pull it up right there. A little message today over on the the X or whatever. Based on the community's feedback, we've decided to deprecate hype chat on November 15th and invest more into cheering and bits going forward. We still believe in the value of pinned messages and fast-moving chats. Viewers will be able to pin cheers with bits in the coming weeks. So hype chat was a feature of Twitch recently in which the viewer could tip a certain amount of money through the Twitch medium and have their message appear at the top of the chat box for a set period of time. Yeah, and it was used exactly twice in our channel. Both of the times that it was used in our channel, was on the very first day it came out, when I said, so there's this new Twitch feature, what do you think about it? 2 people tried it just to say they'd done so, just to do it for fun. I believe that the hype chat feature brought in $2, maybe $3 on this channel, and I suspect it's had less than great adoption basically everywhere throughout Twitch. There's probably some channel that's really adopted it, but no, it's just not a good feature, unfortunately. And part of this on the streamer side, is the knowledge that for viewers, you pay significantly more on your end than good old Resorty gets at the end of the day. And so many streamers are still saying the best way to tip for you and for me is through a tipping or donation link. And yeah, it's because PayPal takes, I think, 1.5% or 2%, where Twitch ends up taking quite a bit more sometimes. I understand Twitch has got to be profitable. Capitalism! I understand that Twitch needs to bring in the dollars and so on. And so a way of doing that is by moving as much tipping as possible into the system of Twitch instead of external things like PayPal. And so I get why they're trying to do what they're doing. I think there's been a fair amount of resistance to it, both on the viewer side and on the streamer side. So that's kind of why I've not really pushed hype chat at all. I haven't mentioned it except on the very first day and then once in passing a little later, just see what would happen. What do you think by deprecating hype chat? It's been removed or will be removed or something like that. And November 15th is ending, so 5 days, it'll be gone entirely. And I'm glad for that. I'm glad for that. Now, the advantage of cheering over PayPal tipping, as some of you already know, is unless your PayPal account is set up in a very specific way, sorry in advance, much of your content info comes over to the comes over to the streamer. And so some viewers do not know this, that if they've tipped with this system in particular ways, and they don't have their account set up exactly right, then PayPal sends all of your personal information over. Now, as a streamer myself, as a person myself, I have never looked at this closely. I've never said much about it except in passing to a few people who are very long-term members of the channel. But I understand people go to cheering for absolute anonymity, which is a cool and good choice too. I just wish that Twitch would, I don't know. I wish that Twitch would be a little more thoughtful about, why are these kinds of look at me, pay for pop-up services not working as well. Anyway, that is phase number 2 of the third story. Welcome, friends, to story number 4. This is the final story, I promise. Earlier, a viewer left for the day, which is awesome and fine and cool, by saying, I'm going to pop out of the lecture now, which made me think, there's a certain degree of people, a certain degree of the way, or sorry, a certain degree that I have been just lecturing in the opening chat. I always think of the opening chat as like, hey, let's catch up, let's see how it goes. But because of the medium, it really is, I just talk for a while, and you listen and take a note. No. I don't think the lecture did jab at all. I don't think he was being insincere or mean or rude or anything at all. It was entirely that he just used the word lecture. And I thought, there is some real consonance between the two. Some of you know the etymology of lecture. It comes from lector, right? To read. Because in the good old Middle Ages, the person who is giving the lecture would stand there and read a book oftentimes, or read a treatise, or read their notes. And then the audience did not read, but instead merely listened, right? Primacy of the written word. And so I guess in a certain measure, this is a lecture because I read out your comments. I am the lector. But yeah, it is. It's something I really like. I'm glad we've developed this phase of the show. It's something that I think is valuable for me. I've mentioned before I don't have many friends here because I am somewhat terrified of trying to speak in Japanese to strangers. The language barrier is kind of tough, and so this makes me feel like a person as opposed to merely Streambot online. Streambot, go ahead and push that button. Streambot, play the game faster, right? This kind of thing is very good for me to feel like a human, which, hey, if that's not the point of life, I'm not quite sure what is. Good bot, thank you. Yes, bot, give opening lecture. And I know from many of you, the commentary between yourselves, the jokes and questions and stories that many of you engage in the opening phase are valuable too. So yeah, hopefully we can continue this for a while. All right, story number 4. So let's see. A lot of colleges and universities have an internal speaker series where faculty do either like speeches or talks about their research or about their teaching strategies or things they've noticed on campus, things they've noticed on in their classrooms, just like kind of here's something I want to talk about with the community of other professors. And these meetings are not announced to students because it's important. It's a place where the professors can just kind of be themselves. And for some people, there is a fairly strong break between lecture them, classroom them, and real them. And I think that's really important for some people. For me, somewhat less so. I'm kind of just the same everywhere. I can get away with that. But yeah, so usually students are not there. And it's a nice and valuable and important way of community building around ideas. I love that. So yesterday, someone who teaches in my department, which is the humanities department generally, decided he wanted to give a talk on why he refuses to let students use electronic devices in his class, why he only assigns hard hard copies, either in book formats or in, I'm going to give you a document here, a PDF, but you must print it out and bring it to class to prove that you've done it in hard copy. And so he wanted to give a talk on how all of the science proves this is the only way to really engage with media, with ideas, etc., etc., etc. And yeah, I'm happy to report the majority of the faculty were pretty strongly against him for different reasons. And no one wanted to ask the first question. No one at all. And because it was clear that he had dug into his conclusion. Oh, I should offer one more framing comment. At the beginning of the speech, he made a terrible, terrible, terrible move. A move that he thought would do one thing and it did another. He said at the beginning, I don't want this to be a lecture. I want this to be a conversation. So please go ahead and chime in. I'd love to see you respond to each other's ideas. He said the kind of thing you say in the classroom, knowing full well that the students will keep quiet almost always. And so, instead of addressing him, because he wanted a conversation, the faculty began to address each other and him. He said he wanted a conversation. And so, one professor, this is a story that I feel proud of, but also not proud of at once. One of the professors who's in business turned to a professor who's in one of the sciences and said, so the speaker today comes from humanities. Do you think what he's argued applies to the sciences? Is it possible to do good and important reading, good and important intellectual work in digital format? And the scientist said, well, I mean, I mostly work with large data sets, so yeah, if I had to print them all out, I would have to, have a giant ream of all the data, and I'd have to go line by line with a little pencil. It is so nice to be able to do Control F and find exactly the line I need. For my work, it's so much better. But I don't really work in an argumentative field. I'm mostly just a data monkey who makes, generalizations that are largely non-controversial from the data sets. So I don't know past that. And someone at that point may have decided to chime on in about scientific reading because he knows things, allegedly. And so, like I said, this guy's argument was all of the science proves that his conclusion is right and good and true. And so I went ahead while he was talking and read the pull quotes he used. And the pull quote he thought was most important for his argument was, there's a correlation. There's a correlation between having or using digital maps as opposed to figure out directions for yourself. A correlation between using these kind of maps and Alzheimer's and dementia. And he used to say, I always tell my students, the choice they're making, the choice your professors are making using digital technology are gonna cause Alzheimer's and dementia, and you can't have that. You don't want that. You're rotting your brain, right? This kind of thing. And so someone said, one of the reasons I think it's very important to have good reading skills in the sciences is because that way you'll know the difference between correlation and causation. For example, there's a correlation between rates of ice cream eating and rates of criminality. This must mean that eating ice cream causes criminality. Or maybe the criminals all eat the ice cream. Who knows? This is the very well-known example of how causality and correlativity need to be distinguished. Why is the reason that both go up? because there tends to be more ice cream eating in the summer, and there tends to be more criminality in the summer, especially burglaries, because people are more out and about and see crimes of opportunity to take things that are not being seen. So I said that, and he didn't really reply, because it was like an attempted argument to the middle of what he said. And he just kind of moved on. Fine, whatever, you can always shrug off a question, that's okay. But other professors continued to offer other kind of thoughts on why this really strong division between the digital and the digital and the analog. The presenter kept saying, we're analog beings, so we must use analog technologies to match our evolutionary abilities. And then the coup de grace that I'm going to tell you in advance, the speaker shrugged off again. This is a humanities professor talking. The coup de grace was a business professor saying, isn't this what Plato said about reading? That reading would rot our brains because we wouldn't be able to remember things anymore, because once you write it down, you start forgetting stuff? A business professor said that. And then Noms, the classicist, chimed in. Yeah, isn't it the case, professor, that you teach the Iliad and the Odyssey? Isn't it the case that you teach these in written formats? They're supposed to be understood orally. Why don't you assign audiobooks instead? And the professor ignored all of these comments and said, well, what I really want to talk about is what I do in my classroom to ensure that the students do hard copy reading. What I want to talk about is, and so he's like, oh no, the conversation has not gone the way I wanted to. I did not expect critique. I expected people to say, yes, paper reading, best reading. Because of course we're all old nerds, and so many of us do prefer to use physical textbooks. When I say physical, I mean things you can hold in your hands and feel the weight of the words and so on. But also, all of us are teachers, and we have this central commitment, many of us, certainly I do, that you meet the students where they are. And if for their entire lives they have done the majority of their reading on the digital copy, the majority of the reading on the Kindle, then yeah, it's an alien experience to say that you must use hard copy no matter what. And so I think what we came to by the end of the conversation among the rest of the faculty is the problem is not the binary between the digital and the analog. The problem is the way in which you use it. And sure, it is the case it's much easier to skim. It is the case it's much easier to have 14 tabs open and bounce between them in a way that the professor referred to as ADHD-like, whatever. It's much easier to do that in that kind of medium. But it's about cultivating habits of attention. It's about saying, this thing matters enough to me that I'm going to focus only on it. It's hard, it's confusing, it's difficult, it's a skill to build up, and that's what college is for, right? That's what college is for the ability to start honing and refining the skills that you need to be a more thoughtful and engaged and better person in some important sense. And the person who says there's only one way to do this that is completely counter to how everything has been up to that point in the student's life is going to make the students hate them. Is going to make the students on day one say, this guy's from another planet, and not in a way that's funny or engaging or raises question marks. You know, occasionally on the first day I will go in and argue a ridiculous position just to show how argument worked. I hope it's the case they go, oh, that's interesting. But instead it's the case that he instead says on day one, only hard copies, you must show me you printed them out. And that's just not great, of course. Not great at all. Exactly, Bernardo, you're absolutely right about that. So, Klaus, your argument here is that the cost associated with physical media is just students already spend all their money on tuition and other things. So during the conversation, someone who is not me raised the question of, isn't it the case that there are some texts that are very expensive. There's some books that are very, very expensive, and because we're using them for educational purposes, unless you're using the entire book, we can use excerpting to get the important parts we need to give to the students for free. And this was just an idea he raised. And then someone said, "Oh, earlier, Professor, you said that you want to be an ally to the students in helping them have the strongest and best conversations, the strongest and best thinking, and only paper can do that. Let's grant that for a moment and also grant that you're an ally. Why don't you go ahead and print out all the papers you want them to read and bring them to class?" Like I said, I feel simultaneously pride and shame about myself. Hey, Antelonio, thank you for the follow. Thanks for being here. I appreciate it. Hope you're having a good day. I swear we're playing video games very, very soon. Very, very soon. These are things we say. And his response to this was, "I only get paid to work so much." And on the one hand, I agree with that. On the other hand, which is what someone said, the students have to do work too. Isn't it important the work they do is based on learning and growing and not standing by the copy machine? And the professor said, "That's absurd." And I said, I didn't say this. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say this. I said, "We're gonna agree to disagree." I thought, stop calling yourself an ally when you're not willing to put yourself out there to do more work. That's how it goes. That's how it goes. So, yeah, that was yesterday's conversation. Afterwards, I sent him a little note. That it said, I definitely agree. I definitely agree that this is an important topic. It's important to help students read better. And then I said, "I'm sorry the conversation didn't follow the path you want. Winky face." So, like I said, he's in my department, so we have a relationship already, so I felt comfortable saying that. But I fully suspect that he went home and talked to his family about those Philistines, those ignoramuses, whatever else. And, exactly. There are some things that work better on hard copy. There are some things like that. And I grant that if you're drawing a graph very quickly by freehand, awesome. And I'm sure you can do that via iPad or whatever, but it's much easier for all the students to use the same medium in the classroom. I'm not saying that there is no place. I just want to negate the view that says the only thing to do is, the only thing you do is is to use the hard copy, the non-digital whatever. Also, I didn't say this, but I thought it. Early on when he argued that the humans are analog beings, not digital, I almost held my little fingers up. That is to say, my digits. I thought that'd be funny, but I already knew how the conversation was going to go, and so I figured I should keep my powder dry and not come off as a jerk immediately. Digits. Very good. The future is a story of Resorty finding the head of a horse in my office. Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens for sure. Hello, Nada. Good seeing you. Is that a similar conversation to the one I had about my students? Yeah, I mean, it is the case that on Wednesday the students didn't go where I wanted them to go. And that was very annoying for me because it felt like they were ignoring the thing they had read on their digital devices. I sent them the PDF. But I think it's the case that it's fair to say in your classroom, there are certain things that are appropriate to say, we now need to discuss this over here, right? We now need to think about this for the purpose of the class's structure, for the purpose of, getting to where we need to go for next class. And, I'll always say, that's an interesting topic. I can't take it up right now, even though it's very, very cool. How about you come to my office hours and we'll talk about it then? Or at the end of the term, we have some open days for makeups and so on. Why don't we go ahead and take up that kind of question in class then? Just not right now. And so I am a little bit, I don't know, I don't want to say dominating, but I am a little bit guiding of the conversation in the classroom in a way I think it's different than when you say it to a bunch of faculty members who are all teaching and learning in the same ways, in the same classrooms, etc. So who knows, who knows? That's the end of story time. I appreciate it. Hey, gregarious, e-readers were around when you graduated, they weren't yet popular. Is it easy to take notes on them like writing the margin paper book? Not necessarily easy, but it's possible. There are bunches of apps and programs and all the rest that will let one, type on in their little notes or use a pen is what Noms does. She has this pen thing that doesn't have a tip but has beep boop robot parts. I don't know how it works. And she can underline things. She can write little notes to herself. The other thing to say, many of my students I notice will read on their device and then take notes in a notebook because they do prefer to be able to write freely and easily without having to navigate menus and so on. And so maybe it's possible to find a way to find the tool that's most useful for the purpose at hand, as opposed to saying poo-poo to all of it. I considered talking about Twitch streaming. I considered talking about our digital relationships and how it's the case that, like what I said earlier, for me, the most valuable conversations I have in the day are, well, with Noms, of course, but then with you all. And, are we to say that this would be better if we were all sitting in one big room? My sense is no. My sense is no, because can you imagine the cacophony? There are many, many people here right now, all talking, all sharing their ideas. La, 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 la. Look at me, Resorty. Over here, this question, Resorty. I got this too. It'd be insane. It'd be absolute pure insanity. So the use of the digital connection here, allows all of us to put out our ideas in the way that's appropriate for possible conversation, where I can answer one question and then look down here and ask her a different question. And that's, I think, an important kind of connecting too. Yeah, there you go. I am done blathering along. No more blather, only video games. So yeah, thank you so much for listening to the opening stories. It was a fun time for me, a good time for me, and we've now been live for just over 1 hour. I feel like it's very possible that today I would have been able to continue blathering for many, many, many hours, because the past couple of days have been kind of full of events that have allowed me to have newer thoughts or differently developed thoughts or whatever else. And thank you for encouraging me, such as it is, and for tolerating it and for spending time with me. So, with that said, let me mention, like I mentioned in the intro, we have about a little under an hour left of today's stream. It's a very, very short stream because I have a very important to me call to make over to my wife. Not my wife, sorry. Definitely not my wife. My friend, who's over in the U.S. still. And please don't tell my wife that I called someone else my wife. Appreciate that. I don't know why my wife came to mind this then. That's strange. Hello, Gary. It's good to see you, friend. Exists a really surprising amount of faculty-level folks who don't understand the concept of variability right tool for the job. Yeah, I mean, here we go again. So the important comment on this one is there's a segment of faculty who either believe or think, I don't know which, I'm not sure if it's fully analyzed. Another view that says the people I'm teaching are little versions of me. And this is obviously false. Number one, different background conditions, different life experiences. Most importantly, if you're teaching at the college level, you are already a super nerd. Right? You focused in on your subject so much that you ended up getting, a degree in higher education. A degree lets you teach in higher education, rather. And so how many of the students in your classroom, especially in non-major courses, are going to end up doing just what you do? My sense is for most classrooms, the number is 0. You will have some students that like reading. You will have some students that enjoy engaging with the topic. And you'll have other students who are just kind of in the room. And it's okay. It's okay. Part of the job of the instructor is to draw out the student to help them see why this thing matters. And you're not going to win them all, but you'll win some. the more dangerous version of assuming the students are just like you is saying the students should be just like me. There's a kind of intellectual elitism that's rampant in these moments. And I think a certain kind of intellectual elitism is okay, but not that kind. The kind that says the aim of the classroom is to replicate the instructor. Because that gets you just rote memorization. That gets you telling the teacher what they want to know, right? That gets you to a position of I think domination implicitly. And so, yeah, it's really important for me that they're like me in the sense of being willing to be open to their ideas. It's really important to me that, we have the opportunity and the willingness to take other people seriously. But I don't think that's unique to me. I think it's intrinsic to the discipline. Gosh, I hope. That said, back in grad school, there was a professor who wore berets all the time. And by the end of their first year working with him, many of the grad students would also be wearing berets and talking the same language and all the rest. And that is so unbelievably creepy to me. It's one thing to have companions on the adventure of, ideas. It's quite another to have messiahs. And it's interesting. Was it a cult? I mean, more than a few people joked it was. Yeah, more people joked it was, but that's how it goes. All right, friends, I promised there'd be gaming. We're going to have some gaming now. Someone did not open the video game today, and so you get to deal with this for a moment. Let's go ahead and pull our CS playthrough up. Like I said earlier, we will have 2 days of this game, today and tomorrow. Where's my Steam? Oh, I closed my Steam earlier because I made a review yesterday of City Skylines. And some people did not like it very much. And I said, I don't want to read it anyway. And I closed the Steam window. But yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I find myself writing more and more reviews recently. I've now done 2 fairly long reviews. And I'm realizing that if I'm going to keep spending this much time on writing reviews, I should probably not just leave them in the Steam store. Because at the time I wrote my review of City Skylines 2, there were 22,000 other reviews. 22,000 other reviews. There is no possible way in which my 8-page long commentary is going to be seen by anyone, or they're going to see it and go, TLDR. And that's fine. It's appropriate. But it might be better for me to make some kind of resorty reviews page where I can feel okay about putting them there. And I don't know, maybe it's even not worth doing, honestly. I just like writing. I like writing in low stakes ways. Doing writing that is going to be submitted for publication, doing writing that will be evaluated by people who I know is significantly more important to me, and also much, much harder for me. But just sitting back and typing this thing out, sitting back and hammering on these are the kind of thoughts I have, and making some jokes. So I'm going to quote myself because I'm very proud of this line. This is the line that I will forever treasure. So I should have made you a picture of it. I forgot to do so. But I said, one of my favorite things about CS2 over CS1 is that you don't only unlock new technologies, mechanics, and buildings through population growth. Instead, there are many, many other ways to do so. And then once you begin unlocking technology, you can choose the path you take. If you want to hurry along and get mass transit, you can choose to have trains before you have big hospitals. The game allows a certain kind of freedom. That is to say, the player is not stuck on rails unless they want to be. Stephen King has a line that one should always kill one's darlings in one's writings. And that's one where I sat back and thought, is that funny to anyone but me? And I said, I don't care, I'm leaving it. So the entire reason I wrote that review was that single line. No, I came up with a single line while I was writing it. Yeah, the entire reason I wrote that review was actually so that when people come in and say, Resorty, should I buy this game? Resorti, is this game worth checking out? How does it differ from the first one? I'll be able to, select it or to mention it and say, I'm not able to answer that question with specificity right now. Just go read this review for all of my thoughts. And it's really important to me that there's a way to do that and be affirming and not just say, I'm not your mother. I'm not going to tell you if you should buy the game, right? But the quick and dirty is, yes, you should. A lot of thoughts in it. So HPG, it may have run on a little bit long. As I finished it, I said, oh gosh, that's eight paragraphs long. That's far too long, but it was fun anyway, for sure. It's not 8 pages long, it's 8 paragraphs long. I honestly don't know how long it is, but there you go. Slivers, thank you for the generous bits. I appreciate that so much. I'm glad you're here, my friend. Thank you for the compliment. I'm saying that players are not being railroaded. Exactly, Geezer Druid. I should go back and edit it and say, here's an even better joke. See Geezer Druid. Oh, I may have said 8 pages. It's 8 paragraphs. If I said pages, one of these days I'll write a review of RimWorld, and that one will go 8 pages long for sure. Okay, so yesterday we got our very first special single-family home building. This one here, the Pop Musician's Mansion. So a pop singer, pop keyboard player, gosh, maybe Yo-Yo Ma himself will come move in here. You know what? Let's do it this time. Yo-Yo Ma has decided to come live in our city. And so I intend to make a big old suburb here. A big old suburb that is bedroom community is the phrase I used yesterday. That comes off the highway and allows folks to, bounce back and forth between the big city and where we put more people, because the demand for single-family housing is nigh infinite. So we're going to meet that now. Hello, Antelonio. You like teachers roleplay more and more? I even stand like a teacher? Wait, what's that mean? What do you mean I stand like... Oh, do you mean that I stand at all? Wait, the game is lagging slightly, isn't it? The camera may be lagging a little bit. Let's just not look too closely at that. I think when you're saying that I stand like a teacher, you don't mean my pose, but just that I'm standing at all. That is definitely true. What is also true, I did not fix my water glass today. There were a little bit of leavings from yesterday, and I flipped it forward, and they came on out. And so, yeah. I'm gonna fill up my water glass real quick. Back in about 30 seconds, I swear. This time I'm leaving the microphone on so I can talk to you. Friends, look at me walking across the room. Oh, you can't see it because boom, green screen. But I swear, I'm always here. Hello, friends. All right, very good, very good. Is the camera lagging on your side or only my side? I am interested in knowing, should I change the settings a little bit so that this is not lagging? I don't know why it is. Definitely our last playthrough it wasn't lagging quite as much. It's fine your way, it's synced with audio. All right, no worries then. Yeah, so the issue is less sync and more when I move my hand from here to here, on my end it's not flowing as smoothly as usually, but if you're all good, we're absolutely fine. Okay, so here comes some game playing. Look, friends, first of all, I need to build a road to this thing, which, I was told there's a dog here. Maybe the dog wandered off, because I don't see it right now. Oh, there it is, the horse, actually. We abandoned some horses out here. There's 5 horses hanging out. 5 horses hang out all the way. So that's how that goes. Hey, Gregarious, thank you for linking my review over on Steam in the chat. Friends, your reading homework is... No. Earlier, though, who was it? Yeah, Antelonio, welcome back to the stream. Glad you're here for the first time. You said the teacher roleplay. I'm really a teacher. I swear I'm really a teacher. That's my core identity. So this will be the centerpiece of the bedroom community. We need to go in the direction of... the highway, which is right here. So... Oh, the stats page shows a pet living there? Okay, it must have wandered off now, but there was a pet before. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. LARPing exposed. Actually, one of the weirdest comments I've had in the past 6 months here was a new viewer came in and said, how do you prove to people that you really live in Japan and you're really a professor? And I didn't understand what they were asking for. I was deeply, deeply, deeply confused. And then they continued on saying, why should I believe you? And on the one hand, I appreciate intellectual skepticism. I appreciate that people shouldn't just accept whatever people say. But as I said then, what a weird thing to lie about. What a fundamentally weird thing to deceive people over. There'd be much better things for me to say, I can't quite afford the intersections, so large roads first. For this time to make a personally made intersection. I think that person ended up being banned ultimately because they just wouldn't let it go in a way that seemed just strangely hostile. It's one thing if you say, look, I'm dating a supermodel and I'm 18 feet tall and I make $1 million a year. Sure, be skeptical of that, but it's very weird. Very, very weird. That's right. This is the way in which I deceive people. I go, teachers aren't paid enough. You believe that? I'm a teacher. Give me money. Oh, it's working great. But yeah, I felt very strange about that person. It was just weird. All right, so we'll do the single lane highway to go off the road. And we're heading in this direction. Eventually, I would not be surprised to see us expand on both sides, but for now, just the one side. And I'm going to try something new. So we're going to pivot off this way. And I'm going to try to relatively quickly make a very small bridge underneath the road. Something like that, hopefully. The other one is the much easier side. So this one is going to head off this way. And, oh, you know what? I just now realized why on my last highway, a lot of people were coming. Second. On the returns to the expressway, right? The way in which they come from the city back onto the expressway, the on-ramps, there we go, the on-ramps. People were going down the on-ramps and then making a U-turn. And the reason why they were doing so is because I'd linked together the two highways. And so the easiest way to go in the direction they wanted to go was to make a U-turn on the highway and then turn across and then go down. Something like that was the problem. I suspect it's the case that our little friends here are always looking for the easiest way to get where they want to go, like the most direct path. And I suspect the most direct path was going backwards. Now, probably the case that the highway was not one way there, because I think that would stop it. But I think I now know what I did, quote unquote, wrong. We'll see. But it was blocking up traffic so terribly. You're absolutely right. Yeah, the person has a strange username. Yeah, there's a certain kind of username that's on the border of what I'm comfortable with. There are a couple people in chat who have names that refer to bodily functions in a way that's joking but gross, and I'm like, do I like that? Not really. Should I be okay with that? Maybe. I don't want to be a stick in the mud, but just be cool. Thanks. And, yeah, it's how it goes. If I turn here, can I get to -10 in time? 1 second. That's not connecting. I may have to start the road at 0 and then lower it to -10 once it's clicked in. There we go, that's what it is. All right, so I want to see, can I make the turn here? I can. It's actually really nice. I was worried we'd have to go way out. That's absolutely perfect. God. Yeah, the border for what kind of chat's acceptable in a channel, I feel pretty good on that one. Overlapping items. So I have to head down to 15 or so. I feel good about the line on chat. The line on username is much, much harder for me. 15 to there. I didn't do 15. I'm still at -10. Whoopsie daisy. Yeah, but for chat names, it's a little harder for me. So let's see. Let me ask this. What if we made the highway go underground and put the off-ramp to the other side? Oh, that's interesting. I don't know how I feel about it. Like, it strikes me as being a little unusual. Because again, this is meant to be a hyper-rural area. And so honestly, a hyper-rural area should have an overpass and an underpass, and maybe I'll do that. But yeah, the idea of like, look, the highway's running along, suddenly underground, makes me think there must be some kind of like secret government alien base. Because this is meant to be a relatively rural area. But I like how you think. It's a cool idea, for sure. Underground highway is more wildlife friendly. Wildlife ending up in there will be a nightmare. It's either more wildlife friendly or terrible for the bunnies. How will we ever decide which one it is? Down to 12.5. That's not quite low enough. We'll go to there, and then hopefully -15 is sufficient for crossing. It is! Alright, so -15 is the important moment of now you may cross. Yeah, I definitely understand that it's less habitat disruption if it's underground. I like that quite a bit. But yeah, can you imagine if some poor little bunny rabbit got stuck there and couldn't find the way back out? Oh, brutal. Or worse, a moose gets down there and starts ramming cars. Absolutely amazing, but also perhaps not so great for the old cars and the old people and the moose. I wonder if there are places where they intentionally have underground highways in order to preserve natural space, natural in some sense space, wooded space, for example. Yeah, no clue, no clue. All right, so I want to, what do I want to do here? I guess I'm just going to have, yeah, I guess I'm just going to have the bridge come up relatively quickly, if possible. I don't have like a tremendously tall, steep climb to carry, but so we'll make it a little bit longer. Yeah. And I'm going to have this one and this one come together roughly here. Now, maybe it's better for me to have it curve off and join together in the middle. Or maybe it's even better to have the two exits more or less lined up together. Let's see what it looks like. Only problem, of course, is I'm on the wrong side, right? This is the... wait, okay, shoot. No, we're fine. Are we fine? I'm not sure if fine. So one thing to say is that this path here needs to be on the left side of the road. This path here on the right side of the road. So I could underpass from this direction also in order to encourage them to, what am I saying? Yeah, if I underpass also, it gets on the right side again. But as we're out here, yeah, as we're out here just hanging out and there's not that much traffic, we're probably fine. Excessive underpassing, very confusing. There are animal overpasses. Oh, good thing. Good call. Yeah, I know about these, where, because roads are so dangerous for many animals, especially things like deer who get spooked and then fly across and get hit oftentimes. I know there's some places that have a little staircase that goes up and over, and then a little staircase down the other side, so they can migrate across without absolutely terrible experiences. Hey, earthquake. Hey, earthquake. It's a little one so far. We good? We good, Tokyo? Yeah, this is a soft roller. No worries at all. No worries at all. It's continuing, but it's not going to go big, I'm fairly sure. Now, occasionally there are little ones and then the big ones, but always a bit of a start. Because occasionally they do start small and then ramp up pretty hard. We've had 2 or 3 of those since we've been here, and every time I have a moment, okay, it's been 10 seconds, it's probably not going hard or fine, but I'm still just not used to it at all. All right, friends, we do have an ad break coming. Look, friends. We've been live now for an hour and 30 minutes, and I have successfully made 2 little off-ramps. It's a very, very chatty day, I'm afraid to say. Let's go ahead and do a little bit of crossword puzzle, so the people who are watching the ads don't miss anything of important or moment or otherwise. And is the earthquake still going? My water is still shaking. I think it's settling down though. Alright, we're not going to have time today to finish out the crossword puzzle. It's just not going to happen, unfortunately. So what I want to do is just work on yesterday's puzzle, which we said is fairly close to being done. And I'll play with this, we'll see how it goes, and tomorrow, which is a Friday, it should go fast. And so you can do the Friday one and the Thursday one, hopefully. We'll see. I don't want the ad viewers to miss us building a 3rd road. Whoa, 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 whoa. I give them access to everything they want, everything they need. If you watch the ads, I appreciate it, and I don't want you to miss anything valuable at all. Where to retire? Retire could be to put like tires, the wheel things, onto a car or a bicycle. I bet it's bike shop. Is that possible? Now, I felt very good about thy when I put it in. Let's see if this works. It doesn't fit. Oh, okay. A rim shop, possibly? Like, I know there are places where you can get, super cool, like, rims, the spinners for your car. Exaltation. I could rig up a hanging pencil seismograph. The occasional seismic chart would be a fun thing to discuss on stream. I know absolutely no idea how seismographs work. Do seismographs work just by the world is shaking and so a pencil shakes? Is that genuinely all of it? There's no way it's all of it. That cannot be all it is. But a little more complicated. Okay, very good. You're of yore. No, it's definitely thy. Oh, I felt so clever. I felt so good, and it just didn't work out. Okay, oof could be wrong for yikes. I have no idea. I have absolutely no idea. I put tasty back in, and we'll figure out eventually. Stretch, no idea. Yikes. Wait, we're doing crosses? We're doing crosses, right. I wish I might. I wish I may. I wish I might, etc. Something is wrong in here. I guarantee something's wrong in here. Genre for Chris Marker and Jean-Luc Godard. Artsy film? Art film? Artsy film feels like not a real genre, but having a double S here feels pretty bad also. I don't know what kind of film they make, unfortunately, so this corner might be a little bit of trouble. Memo abbreviation, I want to say just in re. So Insta works again, which means that tasty is wrong for delectable rather. That's okay. I want to say aura, or hora rather, like the the circle dance, but it can't be that. RA ending. Huh. Cat. Doo-wop singer's syllable. Aha. Oh-ho. Ee-hee. Double Platinum, Joni Mitchell album of 74, something Park. Can't remember still. Wait, is it something Side Park? Can't remember. Certain Victoria Trinity. CS feels pretty bad. Brainiac, ooh. Pop singer whom Madonna once called my talisman. Double E feels strange. Bruno Mars. That's not going to fit. Bruno Musketeers. Emma Smith or Walter Payton. Is this going to be runner instead of running back? Is this football word? Runner? I don't know. It's Ars Amatoria, the art of love. Right. Stymies. All right, either Brillos or the 18th. I thought it was Brumere. Maybe I have it spelled wrong, though, or it's not quite right. Because something is wrong. Something is wrong. Something is wrong. I know that Orson is right, so it's possible I've forgotten how my marks works. Okay, stymies, limits, confuses, addles, holds back. Not sure, not sure. Melt alternative. Well, shoot. There's only one SR word I know, which is SRI, Shri, for a Hindu honorific. Medieval music form, no idea. +1. I'm going to say that strew is wrong. The first word I put in here was date for a +1. That's correct again. Longtime New York nightlife presidents, arguably the city's reigning drag queen. So something Bunny. Bunny feels like a sensible drag queen name. Dust Up. Dust Up. Well, that was very, very, very progressive and good. Oh, man alive. Did I add anything? I put date back in. I got R's, which is absolutely correct. I feel very good about that. But there's something wrong in the puzzle, and I'm not sure to find it. Remember when I started today's puzzle time, I said, golly gosh, it's almost done. Or we done in a very, very brief moment here. Don't you worry, team. You're going to see a completed puzzle on stream right here, right now. No idea. No idea. So on the seismograph, the real one, the device with the needle and paper is mechanically coupled to the bedrock. So does that mean from the seismograph machine, there's like a very long rod or wire or something that goes way, way, way down to the bedrock? And then it senses and kicks it up? You said mechanically connected. That makes me think like rods and pulleys and so on, as opposed to just beep boop robot. That's crazy. That's crazy. Oh, some of you are looking at the Japanese Seismographic Institute page. Yeah, it records every single earthquake over a certain level on a page, showing there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds happening all the time. At 10 a.m., yep, there was a magnitude M42 in eastern Kanagawa Prefecture. Yeah. So Kanagawa is not so far away from here. We do live on the west side of Tokyo, which is closer to Kanagawa than the east, I do believe. I think that's true. Yep. So there you go. So not too far away, but it is always amazing how relatively large quakes or even relatively medium quakes can be felt very, very far away. It's something I have to learn about for sure. Alright, I can go west side. I grew up on the west side of my hometown also, and so we had this like west side chant we did, and this west side like finger symbol we did. But I now have learned that the west side finger signal was definitely a gang symbol, and so we're definitely not going to be putting that one up on stream unless you all caption it and then go put it on the Crips and the Bloods website, and then they're gonna take a gat and cap me. That's how this thing goes. All right, more roads, more good. Also, Agellius, that's a really cool idea. I'm gonna try to remember to do that. Let me write it down. It would be really cool to make a small seismograph here, just so we can like look and see what's happening during earthquakes, because it is the case that when earthquakes happen here, I just kind of stop talking because it's so weird. It'd be cool to be like, do seismograph camera. Now the only problem is, if it were to be on my desk, I touch my desk very often, and so it would record mini earthquakes all the time. So I'd find a way to buffer that. Alright, so pencil seismo. Good. Alright. Look, we're playing a video game, friends. I've already decided that this is where the road's going to come out. So because this is relatively rural, we're on a two-way highway that cuts straight on across. I'll have it 90 degree off of this. Cool. Oh, the straight line's fine, thank you. Great. And then I just want to bring it on the 90 across, then we'll connect it up. Negative 0.3 degree grade. I suspect I should learn how grade works, because I know that there are some mountain roads that are of sufficient enough grade, sufficient enough slope, that truckers have to be incredibly careful how they go down them. I think in some cases, even normal non-trucker drivers need to be very, very careful, because you can like burn out your brakes if you are trying to slow down too much or try to go too fast, or I don't know exactly how it works, but I know that it's a potentially dangerous kind of interaction. I think we went on one of those over in West Virginia, maybe. All over Pennsylvania have the runoff areas. Yeah, the first time I saw runoff areas, I was so confused. Wait, there appears to be an off-ramp that just stops. Oh, they must be working on expanding the highway. And they only got the off-ramp done, and they took a break to talk about something else on stream, as one does. But no, these are intentionally off-ramps that are meant in case your vehicle goes runaway, and you're able to turn off into them, and they're usually of sufficient slope at the end that it slows you down before overrunning it, or they have some kind of slowing down surface, like sand, for instance, as Jim mentions. Yeah, sand that slows down your vehicle, hopefully sufficiently that there's not an accident where you run into the end of the blocker. But it's a way of, hopefully stopping the runaway, as opposed to having to go off the road in a dangerous way or harming other people or harming the driver also. That's right, M. Brady! You drove 18-wheelers up that way! M. Brady grew up in Massachusetts, and so, yeah, before M. Brady was one of my graduate student colleagues, M. Brady was a trucker, which is to say, M. Brady was older and more mature than anyone else in my grad school, and so he was seen as like the responsible one among all the rest of us. And M. Brady's been a friend of mine for a long time, and it's been really cool having him around recently to spend time with us. We're heading in the direction of our quote-unquote suburb over here. I'm now going to work out on this a little bit and see what happens. So I want to have the pop singer's house kind of off by itself. Older, at least? Okay, I'm going to tell the M. Brady story. So M. Brady was not just older, he was also more mature in this way. And M. Brady thinks the story is overblown when I tell it, but here we go anyway. One time we were at a conference, and because we were grad students, we didn't have a lot of money at all, and so we often shared a room. In this case, we were 4 or 5 to a room in a hotel. And so different people got back to the room at different times. All of us but one had gotten back to the hotel room at a semi-reasonable time and gone to sleep. I was sleeping on the floor, which is fine, but the other guy came in very, very late and incredibly inebriated. And initially, he got into bed with the other guy in the room, a very sweet guy, and began like cuddling him. And that wasn't cool at all. And the poor guy was deeply, deeply religious and kind of just like hid himself as much as possible before I think finally saying something like, I need a little space, And so the other guy left the bed, the villain of the story left the bed and decided to go void himself, empty his stomach into the toilet. And there he slept. For the night, hanging out with the toilet. And in the morning, M. Brady, up before the rest of us, goes in and rouses the fellow who has decided to sleep near the throne, so to speak. And M. Brady begins the conversation with this person by saying, "How old are you again?" And this is my favorite story ever. Because that was exactly the right question in the right moment. This is a professional conference. We're meant to be here together studying and learning, etc., etc. And this guy had absolutely lost his mind, absolutely, been entirely socializing instead of really engaging with what the conference is supposed to be about. And that's fine. Like, of course you want to have a good time. Of course you want to, engage with your friends and so on, but he is clearly not doing the thing we're meant to be doing. And so, it's a nice story. It's a nice moment for sure. Oh, unfortunately I need to remove this thing and go again on the curves, because I wanted to go straight across in front, and then definitely curve off the right way. This time I try to make sure it's a nice distance on both sides. 64, nicely symmetrical, I like it. Hey Nils, how's it going, my friend? Good morning from Thailand. Wow, With the DK at the end of your name, I assumed you were from Denmark. But cool, Thailand. I'm in Tokyo. We're not so far away, but good to see you. The city building is going very, very well. Thanks for the kindness and hanging out with us. And yeah, I'm sorry there's not been nearly as much city building today as advertised. We've been live in the city's Skyline directory for hours and hours and hours, and in that time we have gotten very little done. And I screwed up the road a second time. This time, no talking until the little curve is done. So 64, cool. When I say no talking, I mean I'm not going to read chat at all. And so we're going to go out 20... Okay, very good. Hello, friends, etc., etc. We're fine. I have never had that much trouble putting the road on. It is a weird song again. Yeah, wait, why is the music awful? I apologize for not having good music playing. Is this a song I've disliked 4 or 5 times? Maybe the dislike button. No, it's a different song that's awful. I worried that maybe the dislike button on this program did not work, but... Dislike. Should be moving forward in a moment. Very good. Very, very good. Yeah. One of these days it will understand that when I mark a song as disliked, it just needs to stop playing. Weird. You're 7 year in Thailand. Cool, Nils. I'm in my 1.5 year here in Tokyo. It's been a big change, but I'm enjoying it quite a bit. The different song of awful. So I've now identified 5 songs that just aren't the right vibe. Again, the channel I'm playing for you all on this software is called Chill Piano. That song is neither chill nor piano, so I'm just kind of confused. All right, so let's continue down this way. 180 to 136. We can use the lines of symmetry to connect it correctly. Awesome. All right, so it's a nice little court, I suppose. What I would like to do now, and gosh, I'm not sure I can do this. I'm not sure I can connect this correctly. So it was 38, and then I turned. Let's see if I can do it again. So, no, it's 20... 38 on this part, 90-degree turn, 24. I'm making symmetry for you, friends. The things I do to make the perfect city's skyline city. There it is. Should be 64 on the across. It is 63. Close enough for government work. Where did I move from? I moved from Nebraska in the United States, a very, very rural area where there was almost nothing. A city of 7,000 people. I moved all the way to Tokyo, and it's been very, very good. But at the same time, it is a big, big change. I'm loving my time here, but it is definitely a different thing than ever before. Hey, Cyber Oracle, it's good seeing you. How's it going? Yeah, but the move from Nebraska to Tokyo has been one of the more ridiculous things in my life. Okay, I'm getting encoder overload now. My computer is finally starting to melt. I wonder if I'm going to need to restart it before tomorrow's stream. I'm going to lower the encoding rate. So we're getting slightly worse quality. This will save the computer from exploding. Like I say in my review of this game, it is the case that I like it quite a bit, but it's not exactly stream friendly as a game. That's okay. We'll need to name these streets after a while. Not symmetrical, big sad. I'm going to connect this kind of lickety split over this way, just so people can start moving in, hopefully. That said, there is no way out of this area yet. We have to make a on ramps instead. Out ramps, on ramps allow people to get onto the highway once more. I have a little curve here. They were called like place hidden hollow or something. Something appropriately ritzy for these fine folks. Okay, I do not want to have it go directly into the pop singer's house. I wonder if it's possible to make a city that doesn't have like suburban sprawl. A lot of players I've read on the Steam reviews say that their cities are beset by traffic problems. Now, I don't know if I've had a large enough city to cause these traffic problems, or if instead I've just not built in a way that I should be building, namely a way that packs people in and gets many, many people traveling in one area. I'm really just not quite sure. So, I don't know. Oh, wait. It's solid to name the cul-de-sac or wherever you have to bulldoze to build it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So funny. I gotta ask, I read the blog post about teeth rendering in this game. It's linked in Discord. I saw it. I didn't read it. But yeah, there's a suggestion that some things are over-rendered in the game and some things are significantly under-rendered in the game. And so, yeah, so it's not exactly clear to me what the devs were going for on what level the game should be, correctly rendered or beautifully rendered. Because the idea of like individual people's teeth being rendered, very, very silly. Now, I do kind of sort of wonder, are the people who made the models of the teeth and the people who made the models of the tree, very different people who don't work together necessarily. And, oh gosh, even more encoder overloading. Let's try to fix this again. Yeah, so I am curious if they were trying to like have all these different models made, all these different ways to apply that, all these different ways to make each piece look as good as possible, and then no one did the work of seeing, is this beautiful thing gonna work well with the rest of the beautiful thing? We'll see though. Definitely the teeth being rendered is a bit of like a meme comment, I think. Like, of course it is very, very strange that teeth would be presented individually in a game like this, but at the same time, I definitely understand why they would do that. But I hope that the performance issues are not just there are too many models to produce. It'd be very, very sad if that is really all there is to say. All right, you all zone how you want to. Look forward to you building up real soon. And these fine people have nothing yet. Right, so we need to give them electricity and power. And I believe it's connected to at least part of the city. It is, it is. Let's bring a underground pipeline over. And a separate transformer wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. So, next to the highway, we'll put in a transformer that should connect to the underground. There it is. Gonna need a road to get out there. We'll add that in just a moment. And we'll run our power lines again underground, connecting from there into nearest street for now. Cool. Nice. And we'll give the, we'll give the lovely person here a connection over. Jim, I want to say thank you so much. Jim just commented this might be the first time I've seen a Resorty stream live the whole thing. Friends, I got to go. Unfortunately. Because, yeah, I'm ending early today. I have a call in 5 minutes. It's really important for me to take, and really I'm looking forward to it. It's a big deal. So I'll be back tomorrow. What will you all do? Those of you who hang out here for another 2.5 hours usually. I don't know. You're probably gonna have to, like, find yourself a different streamer to watch. Please don't fall in love with someone new and never come back. Maybe you'll go to bed a little early. Maybe you'll find a way to entertain yourself. What is this awful song? What is this genuinely awful song? I'm just not sure what's going on here. Can I stream the call? That would not be the best of ideas. Because though it's the case that I have significant overlap between who I am as an individual on stream and off stream, I absolutely need to be a little chiller. You're always going to sit there the whole way through. Hey, if you like hanging out and chatting while I'm offline, that's totally okay. Yeah, what is this song? Please stop. Please stop, won't you? It's called Colorful Riot. I hate this entire album. Is there a way I can say this album is sin? I'm not sure. Anyway, no Rady hosty today, just taking off. Thanks for hanging out, folks. See you again real soon. Goodbye. Tomorrow, only a day away.